for the greatest show in the history of great fucking shows.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Don't be a fucking dick, Jay.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, we're here in the Civic Hotel, a nice soggy evening, 48th floor. We're doing a podcast right now. I got T-Bone and J-Bop Jab in the studio, and we're just going to roll off a few funny stories here. Awesome. So I'm just going to basically go into something here. 108th, 148th, Max Milk. What do you think about that, Terry Berry?
It's awesome. That's awesome. A lot of bad accidents there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Jab?
We spent a lot of time hanging out there.
Hours and hours. Like, probably, I think myself, I probably stayed there, hung out there for a year solid. Like a year within 5 years. We were there, like, waiting for shit to happen.
Yeah, and then sometimes a gem would come along.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like the guy on the motorbike.
Oh, yeah. That one was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was.
So, guy comes on a motorbike, calling us all fucking goofs and, assholes and shit. We're like, yeah, fuck you. And the guy's like, yeah, no, fuck you. And then he drives out, coming down 148th, actually 108th, through 148th with a fucking crazy, like, girl on the back, but he's doing a wheelie, man. Like, it was long. Like, he was, like, he was going probably, close to 200 yards?
Yeah, probably about that, yeah.
And then, boom, fucking tumbling. They go down. All I remember is the guy was bouncing off those little, those decorative rocks that are in the center of the meridian. And I was cringing every time I heard, like, a bone break or something. You could hear it. It was fucking crazy. What did Labotham do?
We
Robotham
went
just...
and picked up the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was an overpowering guy, man. I swear to God, he tucked it right underneath his arm.
I remember it as like a fucking, like a motorcycle though. Like a John fucking Rambo bike. Like not like a Harley or anything or a street bike.
No, it was a nicer Yamaha looking thing. They would call it a Yamaha Harley.
Yeah, my
I don't know.
Harley.
Yeah, it was nice. Wasn't nice after that accident. It was garbage.
But you remember all of us lying to the fucking police and ambulance when they showed up saying, yeah, I think a car cut them off.
Yeah.
So at least they got a little bit of money out of the deal.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Me and Jab were in a good accident one time. Pulling into Robin's Donuts with my little Ford Ranger. It was a two-wheel drive. I don't know why anybody would lift a two-wheel drive, and it was a rainy night out, and we pulled in there, came screaming in there, and put it in reverse, and I just gunned it. And lo and behold, boom, boom. We're up on a car, a little Fiero. And I was like, and Jab's head hit the back so hard. I thought he for sure had a concussion. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. And I remember just trying to peel off, like get off there, and my tire kept spinning on this fucking hood of this car, like leaving a big, huge black spot on there.
Did you know it was a car right away?
No, not right away. But I thought I was just high centered on something, right? And it just and I'm fucking. Then all of a sudden, there's people coming out because I was gonna run, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Of course you were.
I didn't even care. Like he was concussed. I was like, let's get the fuck off this thing and whatever. And all of a sudden, people are there. Had to leave my license and everything else. And fuck, but the car was destroyed.
Poor guy had a lowered Fiero.
Yeah,
and you're up
I
on
think
it.
all Fieros are lowered.
Oh no,
No, it was really
low.
well. It's probably really low when your fucking car's on top of it or your truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
For
funny.
sure.
How did it go with ICBC? What did they say?
Oh well, I had to pay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Did they like? Well, what the fuck was going on? How did
I just
you
said
end
it
up-
was rainy out and I couldn't see the car when I
Oh.
backed up. They didn't even ask, well,
I
how
thought
did you
just
get on
left a
top
note
of
that
it?
Said sorry about your car.
I did leave a note. Sorry about your car. 633, I left my license number and everything else, my name, because I was scared at that point.
That was
It
nice.
was going
of
to be all
you.
tough and, run, but once people came out, I chickened out.
Oh fuck, that's too funny.
Should have left your name, Jab.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, and that Ford Ranger was pretty good when I took it out that morning.
No,
to take,
not when you took it out. When you stole.
I didn't
You
steal
stole
it.
my
I
truck,
borrowed it
stolen,
to take
dickhead.
someone to school,
No.
and then then a Firebird cut me off as I was
Yeah, a
headed down to
Phantom.
104.
Yeah, no. What happened is
stole it.
We were asleep. Me and Jab lived together here, and we were partying the night before. Whatever. He had to get his girlfriend off to home or school or college or whatever the hell she was in, and he just thought it would be okay just to take my keys.
Of course, because that's what he
So
does.
I hear my
steals things.
Yeah, I hear my truck fire up, and I'm just like, fuck. I was like, I wasn't about to run down the stairs and say, no, you can't do it, and whatever, right? And he was gone. And I fall back asleep. 5 minutes later, he comes back in. Fuck, man. Fuck, man. Fuck. Punching windows and or doors and shit. Like, fuck.
Like he's really
fuck.
distraught.
He's really
Yeah,
distraught.
it was. I just crashed.
And I was just like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? And I went downstairs. She's like, that fucking Camaro cut me off. It had no taillights. It
didn't.
And I was like, what happened? He's like, a Camaro cut me off. Fuck, man, fuck. I still remember it clearly. Fuck.
I hit that tow truck
And
pretty
he-
hard.
No, you hit that parked tow truck.
truck.
Like,
Yeah, well,
like
a
off
tow
to the
truck.
side of the road.
You hit it so hard, you created $900 damage on a solid steel bumper that he had on there, man. And anyways, fast forward a couple weeks later, I get my little thing with ICBC, my little interview I have there, and ICBC's like, well, you didn't have collision on your car. And I was like, you motherfucker. I was that mad at myself for that.
I was there
Because
when
I was too cheap to walk across to the bank machine and get another $20. I was like, no, I'm not going to crash it. Whatever. And for
He
sure
didn't.
enough.
He only crashed it the
And
one
then-
time.
What
and
did
then,
she say?
So ICBC's like, yeah, well, we're going to deny your claim for, any compensation for your vehicle because we don't believe in phantom Camaros.
Because everybody used to use that.
Yeah.
Oh, a fucking Camaro
And then-
cut me off.
and then
Camaro
this-
came out of nowhere.
And then this cheap fucker, I don't see him for a couple of years. He doesn't even bother trying to replace the vehicle or anything. Or give me
Absolutely
another
not.
vehicle to drive in. But me and Job talked it out. He has to buy me a coffee every time I see him for the next 45 years.
Yeah, if we're alive that long.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's funny, man.
I
But
hit that tow truck really hard. The
What
truck
were you
went
doing?
up like I thought we were gonna flip right over. Like we went up and I seen the ground.
But the best part about the whole thing is your girlfriend told us exactly
Jossie.
what happened. You were looking at a bag floating around in the back of the truck in the rearview mirror.
It wasn't gonna fly out. It just kept going up and then back down and then up. And I was like, "Is that thing gonna fall out?" No, maybe it will. No, it doesn't.
No,
Look. And then
and then-
pow, pow. I don't even think the truck had enough time to backfire like it usually did. That's how close we were to the house.
Oh, man. Fuck, you're hilarious.
Yeah, that was good.
That's fucking funny, man.
And it cut her. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt, and her head hit the mirror. The mirror broke and cut her head, and then she hit the
was she
windshield.
Was she sitting rocker shotgun? Like she's sitting right beside you?
Well, it's a truck seat, man. Like it's obviously
It's also
sitting
a
right
bench
beside
seat.
me.
One sits by the door, the other one sits by the door. See how the truth
Oh, it was
starts
the
coming
best,
out?
though. But we were like, oh, you were giving him a blowjob. She's like, no, he was looking at a bag. Sort of, like, she's like, I swear. Oh, that's funny, man.
Yeah, it was really hard. Hit really, really hard.
That almost broke up your guys' friendship.
No.
You were almost crying.
Well, of course I was crying.
I
That's
remember
my
when
fucking
your
vehicle,
brothers were
man.
like, "You were probably going like 100 there." It's like we're like 10 feet away from the house. There's no way I was going 100.
Oh, fuck, man.
I think that piece of shit could get to 100.
How about you, Job? You got any good ones or what?
That was a good one.
No. Go with the gold.
What on the bike?
You.
Anyways, so I was playing hockey. It was summertime, and after hockey, heading home, and had a few beer. Seen a guy riding a bike going down 132nd, or I think it was 132nd. Heading to my girlfriend's house, and I seen the guy, and I just yelled out the window, "Woo!" It's real loud, and we locked eyes. And we stared at each other for, I don't know how long it was. He was in front of the car when we locked eyes. And he was like at the back of the car while we still locking eyes. And then he just went right in front of a van and got smoked off by this van turning the corner. And he went flying off the bike. The bike was just destroyed. I kept going for a little bit. And I was like, oh, man, what do I do? Should I turn around? It's probably a good thing. See if he's not dead. And then turned around, went back there. Parked the car a little bit down the road, thinking the cops are going to come. And talked to the guy in the van. He's like, man, we just came back from the P&E and this guy came out of nowhere. We're so high. We were just smoking dope the whole way home. It's like, well, pretty sure you'll be okay.
Did you tell the cops that when you had to give your statement?
No, I just said that this guy just went right in the middle of the road. I watched him just ride his bike right in front of his van.
I guess the guy was pretty much like couldn't say anything. He's all busted up.
He was pretty hurt. He was worried about his backpack though. He didn't want to lose his backpack. But his bike was just wrecked. And I didn't remember this story until a couple of months ago when we were cleaning out my mom's place, and I found the letter I had gotten from ICBC about witnessing the accident, and that I need to give a statement.
That was what, like 16 years ago or 10 years ago?
2001?
Oh.
2001?
Oh, fuck, wow. That's
a
beautiful.
Long time. Yeah. And it was unopened. Open up this letter and...
Fuck. You still got his name?
Yeah.
We should try to Facebook him, tell him sorry.
No, I tried. I couldn't find him on there.
Oh, shit. He probably died from those injuries.
Well, he might have.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Fucking
he
asshole.
Was okay.
Mm.
He didn't die. He survived, but...
Yeah, they said he was okay or something, didn't they?
Well, he was okay.
Yeah, when they were loading him up, they're like, he's going to be okay.
I didn't witness a motor vehicle death, and it didn't say that in the letter. So.
Yeah, okay. Fucking asshole.
But I Ric Flaired him as he was driving. He just stared right at me, and we couldn't. It's like we were in love. We couldn't get away from each other's eyes. And it was like, what? Why is this guy still staring? Why are we looking at each other?
But you could have killed somebody too when you're locked in eyes with them.
I drove for a good 100 feet, just staring behind me, locking eyes with this guy.
Oh fuck, man, that is so funny, man.
Okay.
And then but I was worried that when the cops came,
of course,
I was worried. I was like,
drunk.
oh no, do I smell like booze?
No, you had a few beers.
A nice looking cop lady that I'm in the back of the cop car talking to, and I just kept thinking, oh no, I'm gonna go to jail. I was driving without a license too, but
and a few beers.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
probably 3, 4.
Yeah, right. Well, actually, you weren't really a heavy drinker back then.
No,
I could see you only drinking 3 or 4.
Yeah, maybe 2, 3. Yeah. Who knows?
Oh fuck! I was in a pretty funny one too with T-Bone over there. We're coming down. My mom's got this. What kind of car was that, man? Like a...
Oh, God. I think it was... It wasn't a... It was a Granada.
Granada. That's right. Like an old silver fucking...
It was silver, yeah.
1980s or 84 Granada. I remember that. So I had somebody work on the fucking brakes. And we're heading down the hill. 132 coming down the hill.
No, 128.
Yeah, 128 where that 4-way or 5-way stop is.
108.
And 108th. And I see this fucking cool, well, it was a Volkswagen.
It was a Volkswagen van.
A cool Volkswagen van. And I'm just looking, and Rob's like pressing. He's like, oh, fuck. And he's pressing the brakes. No brakes. Boom. We slam into this fucking van. I still remember the pop. I could see through the windows. The pop flying on the fucking, on the
windshield.
The windshield. This guy gets out with fries in his hair. Like all his McDonald's exploded. And he is fucking freaking out, Rob. He's like, I'll kick your ass. What the fucking, tell him what you said, Rob.
Yeah, I was like, hey man, road rage. And he just backed right off. I was like, it's a fucking accident, man.
Yeah, didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah, when I came down, when I was at top of that hill, we had brakes. When I was coming down the hill, there was no fucking brakes, man. And we're doing 70. I was like, holy shit.
Whoa.
And I wasn't about to like start maneuvering. I was like,
No.
this fucking guy's gonna take it in the rear end, man. And
Oh.
boom, we sent him right through the fucking intersection. That was crazy, man. But I felt bad because he was so upset too that because his wife was pregnant.
Yeah, and his wife was in the
Yeah.
car too, and
Yeah.
fucking their McDonald's was exploding
It
everywhere,
exploded.
man. Like he was pulling fries out of his fro, man. He was so pissed
Came
off.
out smelling like a Big Mac.
It's kind of like when, remember I rear-ended that guy right near where you live now? When you were like, go!
That
And
was me.
yeah, go, and I hit the guy. And then I jumped out of the car, and he was like, no, it's okay.
He was
It's all
fucking.
right.
He was hammered. The guy was hammered.
Oh, that's why he's like, oh
Yeah,
don't
we were
worry
at
about
we
it.
had a red light, and Jabby just picks around, and like he's the most distracted fucking driver you ever meet,
Yeah.
man.
So, anyways, of course, I got injured in that accident. I had a sprained wrist. I had a little bit of a concussion, so I went in there and negotiated a $3,500 check.
Yeah, but here's
out
the
of that.
cool thing is that when I hit that person, Marco was up on the dash, man, like one of those little toys that the Asian people
was
put up there, man.
bouncing
He
around,
boom, he
man.
was laid out on the dash. Yeah, you weren't wearing your seatbelt.
Fuck, I was, but
Go back,
it's a
ICBC.
1984 fucking car, man. It probably didn't click in or something and shot me out fucking on the windshield.
And there was zero damage to your mom's car,
it
man.
was hilarious, man.
Oh
They're
my
like, oh, your
God.
car's good. The brakes seem like they're all right, so we don't know what happened.
Maybe I just was missing the brake pedal. I was like,
You probably had a fucking Coke bottle underneath the fucking brake, and you're like, hey, no brakes. That's quite possible.
yeah, that was a good one. That was it was pretty scary coming down that hill with no brakes. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, like in that situation, what are you supposed to do?
Absolutely, man. I was fucking. It happened so fast. Thank God, though, because like I just, you know what I mean. Like you were easily doing 60. Like you fucking
Yeah.
shot that van went through the intersection, like
Yeah.
at least fucking what 15 yards.
Yeah. From stop sign to stop sign, man.
Oh fuck,
Yeah.
that's golden. That's golden.
And then your mom's car came to a complete stop as soon as I hit him. Boom.
Yeah.
There was no rolling or anything after that.
I remember fucking back in the day. I'll just say his name. It rhymes with Chris. Let's just say it rhymes with Chris. This is back when probably 1989, 90. We were like what, grade 10?
Yeah, maybe we're out there.
Grade 10 or yeah, probably grade 10. So we're throwing snowballs at cars. And Chris throws one and nails a Porsche. And this was a nice looking car. Like it wasn't just some cheap ass fucking Porsche. Like it was like this guy's gonna get out and kill him. So he hits it with the snowball and he just sits there, and I see this car screaming towards the Porsche. I'm like, uh-oh. The guy tries to lock him up. Boom. Easily $40,000 damage on the back end of this car. And Chris went white. I was like, you better run, man. Like, you don't just stick around. You just fucking cause a crazy accident. And he didn't know what to do. He just started running. And for about probably 6 months, I'd always joke with him, be like, hey man, like they're gonna come get you. They're gonna garnish your mom's wages and shit. And he was always so scared. It was fucking so funny, man. And the guy in the Porsche was like, hey, you guys stay here. We're like, fuck you. We ain't doing shit.
Yeah. I got a story about another guy, and his name, same thing you said, rhymes with Chris. And we were on Barnston Island one time, and he decided it would be a cool thing to turn off his headlights and drive. Holy shit, with a car full of people, man, he ended up in the ditch.
Oh, boy.
Some of the stupid decisions we make when we were kids, man.
Oh, fuck yeah. Absolutely. Not just kids. Like, I have a good one on fucking J-Bop. You remember when you dropped, what did you drop? You dropped something.
I don't know.
And then you were underneath the fucking steering wheel looking and trying to pick it up while you're doing like 40 kilometers and you're about to slam into a bus. And I was like, I almost let you crash because I just wanted you to know that you're a terrible driver. But then I was like, it would have snapped your neck because his head was under the fucking steering wheel and he's trying to pick something up. I go, Jay. He locks him up like inches away from the back end of the bus.
Well, that's how my first accident happened. On the way to hockey, I dropped my harmonica that I would play on the way to hockey, and I reached under the seat to get it, and I looked up, and everybody was stopped right in front of Swiss Chalet on King George, and I rear-ended, and that one, the girlfriend's head went through the windshield the first time, because that was a month before I crashed the Ranger.
Oh, I never knew about this accident.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh, pretty good.
But so I would go to hockey and I would blow the harmonica all the way.
How
And
long
then,
were you fidgeting underneath your steering wheel to try to find that fucking harmonica?
You know, probably from 96 all the way to Swiss Chalet.
Oh man, you're fucking.
And then I was like, well, it must have been that manhole cover. I went over the manhole cover and I couldn't stop in time.
Is that what you said?
Smashed into the person in front. They smashed into the person in front of them.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I guess you can't say, well, I'm digging down there for a fucking harmonica that I dropped underneath my steering wheel. That
No,
won't
I
go
couldn't.
over too well. You got to lie about that.
So then, so she had to go to the hospital, and then my dad came and picked me up to go to hockey still because I had to go to hockey.
Wow.
And then we went to the hospital to see where she was, and they hadn't taken her yet, so we took her and went to my game. That's probably why she hates me. Well,
Yeah.
One of the reasons why she dislikes me so much.
Oh, yeah.
Hockey before health. Sweet.
And she videotaped the game that night too.
You're a very lovable fucking person, but fuck, I want to strangle you sometimes too.
Yeah, that was the first time her head went through the window, and that was a good one. I wish I would have had saved like a photograph of the windshield because it had like a head imprint on it, like coming out. The old my mom's K car. My mom was mad.
It's a good reliable.
I didn't call my mom when it happened. I called my dad, and my dad
yeah.
came and got me. And yeah.
Oh fuck, that's beautiful. So you've been in a lot of accidents then?
No, those two.
Just those?
Jesus
Or
Christ,
the
what are you
one-
talking about?
It
I
was
thought
all
you were
like within
juggling.
it was all within a short period of time. Us running over backing over the Fiero, me crashing my mom's K car, then crashing the Ford Ranger.
Yeah.
All within like a month
month.
and a half.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
A
That's
month
awesome.
and a half.
Yeah, no. We had somebody in studio here. His name's Billy. Let's just call him Billy. He actually called me. He's like, "Hey man, fucking," and he was like shaking. Like,
You had that guy in here?
yeah, it's
That's
all
terrible.
It's all good. It's all
That's
good.
terrible.
It's all good.
I
We know that you guys don't get along, but anyways, it's all good. So anyways, he calls me. He used to always run out of gas. Sorry, hold on. He used to always run out of gas, like every fucking day. Like he would call me probably, well, at least twice a week. He'd be like, "Hey, fuck, I ran out of gas again. Can you come down with a jerry can full of gas or this, or whatever, right?" So this time he phones me up and he's like, you can hear he's like, something's wrong. He's like, "Holy fuck, man. I ran out of gas, man. I'm waiting for the fucking cops and I ran out of gas." And he's all like slurring his words and shit. So I'm like, "Fuck, are you like fucked up, like, you know, on drugs and shit?" He's like, "No, man. These girls went past me in a fucking Mustang and they drove down the hill and I saw a cloud of dust and I go, oh, they must have gotten to an accident." So I walked up to the fucking car and the one girl's head is like clean off. It's on the fucking ground. And I'm like, holy fuck, man. And he goes, I think there was 2 or 3 that had died. I think 2. And so he witnessed this, and I knew right away that like I did not want to see this. So I was like, I'm gonna drop you the gas off like 100 yards away. The whole scene was taped off, tarped off. Like there was choppers going around like trying to get footage or whatever they're doing. Maybe it was just the police choppers, but I realized long, back in the day that that's something I can't witness. Like, it's not really what, people should be seeing.
Well, yeah, PTSD is a huge thing, man. Like, it's scary stuff.
Yeah. And he had actually seen another person or two people get killed a month before that. So it was like he witnessed 4 people within like a month fucking dead. And then after that, he was kind of like a little bit, he would tell me, hey, I can't sleep. I'm like, well, why? You doing cocaine and, too much coke? He's like, no, I'm just, I'm picturing all this shit going on in my head. And the coke helps me. And I'm like, well, fuck, the coke's probably not going to help you.
Nope. It's a proven fact it doesn't. But yeah, it just plays in your head like a constant loop and a loop and a loop and a loop. And it just keeps going and going and going. If you don't get help for it, it eventually consumes you to the point where you end up taking your own life or the life of other people or whatever, right? Or
just have a shitty life that's constantly
right.
You're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Harsh anxiety and a bunch of other problems.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I witnessed that guy die at work, and like he was just a young guy. He was gonna have his first kid and whatever, and yeah, it was pretty scary stuff. But I went through all the proper steps to make sure that I got the proper help. It took 3 years of therapy.
Yeah.
Going at first, it was every day I was going to therapy, every day and every day and every day.
Do you feel comfortable to say kind of what happened right now, or?
Yeah, for sure. So I worked at a machine shop in a company. I'll just leave their name out of it, just in case, whatever. But anyways, I worked at a machine shop, and he was running a radial arm drill, and it had like some sort of it had features on it that would let it like do its own thing, through levers and stuff like that. And anyways, and I was running the CNC big, huge vertical drill, right?
Oh yeah.
And he was on the radial arm drill, and I was over talking to my supervisor and talking to him about the next job that was coming up or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, well, and it was just roughly about the end of the day, right? And so anyways, we finished talking, and then I walked past Dallas, and I was like, hey, everything okay? And he's like, yeah, everything's good, this, that, and the next thing. And I walked over to my machine. It was honestly about 25 feet, like if that.
So you're basically right beside the guy.
Yeah, right beside him. Like I could almost spit on him, right? Yeah. If I wanted to, you know what I mean? So I looked inside my machine, make sure it was still working, and I looked over my left shoulder, and the machine had grabbed him. Like he got into the no zone.
Oh, fuck.
And it grabbed him. And as soon as I saw that, as soon as my head went over my left shoulder, my body turned around and immediately started running. And by the time I got 25 feet, he had been whipped around. And probably when I got within the 5 feet, his head just exploded, and I got covered in brains, right? And I was scooping brain matter out of my eye sockets. And just from the time that I got to, and here's the weird thing about PTSD and like things that you witness and stuff.
Yeah.
You remember every single detail. I can tell you the smell. I could tell you the boots he was wearing, the colors of his laces. I could tell you exactly where he was bruised and all this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then so my supervisor came around the other way, and he hit the e-stop, because once I got covered, I stopped dead in my tracks, and I was like, what the fuck? You start processing it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, call 911, call 911.
Wow.
And then this other guy, Richard, who was there, he was on the air horn. So once you have the air horn, it's one loud burst or whatever it was. And
that means something serious is going on.
Something serious, yeah. And so I was on, and I remember like running, and there was a spot about 12 inches. And I'm a pretty thick guy. Like, like widthwise, or is that widthwise or no, thickness, like my chest to my back, pretty
Your
thick.
circumference.
Is that what you want to call it?
Yeah.
Okay. But there was this one, I was running full tilt, and I had to jump through this, and I remember jumping through it, and the only thing that didn't make it was my right shoulder. I was like, fuck. So I squeezed through this small hole and just go out and call the ambulance, right?
Holy fuck.
And then the ambulance came and whatever, but, and so and the first aid guys managed to get him breathing again.
Oh, no
like
way.
not breathing again, but what it was, it
pulse.
was just like,
Oh.
It was just his body shutting down.
Oh, fuck.
And, you know,
Poor
so
guy.
you see that, right? And by this time, the work had already closed it off. Everybody who was inside that area was inside that area. And they were just trying to, like, put pressure on wounds and whatever. And then finally, the ambulance wasn't too far out, and they came. And they loaded him up, and they drove away with no lights on, no sirens, man.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, and it sucked. And then that was a Thursday, and then and this is where like shit gets sideways, because everybody now, you have the rumor mill going around and shit
Yeah.
like that, right? A lot of people are like, and they had grief counselors come in and stuff like that, and like all this other stuff, and that's when the rumors start flying, right? And like, you know, everywhere, oh, he should never have been on those machines. But between me and the other two, Richard and the supervisor, we had 50 years experience on that machine, and he had 4 months before he even came to us.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, so he had us teaching him, and he was well taught, like, you know what I mean?
It was just a freak accident.
It was, but he got into the
Don't
nose
they
zone.
have tearaway like overalls? Most companies now, or like so at least it
they don't have
rips.
tearaway
No?
coveralls or anything.
They
like
won't.
That, no.
You know,
That
like
seems fucking dangerous.
no,
man.
like the smocks that I used
Yeah.
to wear were tearaways. Like if your arm ever got caught, it would
Yeah.
just, but not full on. And like you wouldn't believe, like once it grabbed him, just started
spinning.
whipping him around. It ripped every piece of clothing he had on him.
So
he was
basically
naked.
fucking naked, and his
Yeah.
head's ringing, and bones are busting
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
pole.
yeah.
Bing, bing.
Yeah, and it was and it played over and over and over in my head like that night.
Oh, for
and
sure.
you know, for the next 3 years. But then we went back to work the next day. Like I said, Friday, the place was shut down. I mean, they weren't like a greedy company saying, come back to work. They shut it down. They brought in counselors, and then everybody's like, you know, I started hearing the rumors, right?
Like, what ifs? Why
yeah,
did they
like,
do this?
like, you know, like, fuck, it's all, you know, your fault. You guys could have did more and whatever. And I was like, you want to know something? Any one of you pieces of shit want to say that, say it to my face, and we'll go out in the fucking parking lot, and I will fight, honestly, any one of you. You guys are fucking pieces of shit for this. And then one guy stood up. Well, you want to know something? I got to say something. He was actually smoking dope all day long at work. And I was just like, fuck.
yeah.
But the place was so big, and there was, you know, supervisors everywhere, but you could sneak out. People used to sneak out and go to sleep for
Well,
fuck's
people
sakes.
smoke crack at work, for fuck's
Yeah,
sake.
and he was just
They go
smoking
to the
weed.
washrooms, and they, you know,
It
not,
still made him complacent. That's why I don't tolerate weed smoking
But
at
it
work,
probably
man.
would have happened even if he didn't smoke weed.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
Maybe.
just, it sounds like it's just a crazy fucking freak accident.
Well, you become complacent if you do the same job over
Yeah.
and over and over and over. You forget steps, right? He got into the no zone. You were never supposed to go
at
in
my
there.
work, it's called getting caught in the bite. You don't want to get caught in the bite,
Yeah.
because the bite will suck you in, and you can't get out.
No.
That's fucking
So,
scary.
yeah. But anyways, I did, like I said, 3 years of therapy. I did EMD, what is it, EMDR, all that stuff.
So
you know?
what type of hoops did you have to jump through? Like were they pushing back at you and saying, "Hey, no, you're fine. Get back to work."
As far as what, like WCB and stuff?
Anything? Like
No, because this is when WCB was just making the whole like PTSDs, you know, allowed
Yeah.
through claims,
Yeah.
and they never once held back.
So
but
they were acknowledging that it's actually something
Yeah,
serious, and
but
that
they're-
it's happening.
their return to work policy was a little bit shady. Like it was like, okay, so it was all the way out in Harrison or Agassiz where I worked, right?
Yeah.
So I'd have to drive out there for an hour and then drive all the way back, 55 minutes one way to work, an hour to come back. And then it would be like, then you go for, after 1 week of that, then you go for 2 and whatever. And I tried to go back early, and my therapist is like, he basically called me a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Those were his words. He's like, you're a fucking idiot. He's like, would you go run a marathon right now in the shape you're in? I was like, no. He's like, yeah. He's like, your mind is not ready to go back to work.
Absolutely.
I was like, no, I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah. You
Got
you're
to the
playing
front-
tough guy,
Got
right?
to the front door and puked my brains out, and I just turned around and walked away.
Just your adrenaline.
yeah, the
anxiety.
adrenaline.
Oh fuck.
And then so the company transferred me to the Langley
Yeah.
branch, right? And same thing. I get to the front door and just Ralph.
Yeah.
People have to step over my fucking puke. Yeah.
Yeah. That's you know
Yeah.
that's probably pretty serious, right?
But it is serious, and if you don't get help from like everything, I mean, there's like
How were the doctors though? Like, were the doctors good or like the psychologists?
Oh,
that
like
you
my
saw?
like my therapist was awesome.
Yeah.
Like he was awesome, and I did come across one doctor who was he was a real fucking douchebag, man. He was from South Africa. It was like the white part of South Africa. So I go in there and he's like, okay, well, here's 2 weeks off. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you, and then so I wasn't ready to go back in 2 weeks because my claim was still processing and all this other stuff, right? And I was nowhere near ready to go back. Like,
No.
I'd been up all night and then he so after the 2 weeks I had to go back and get another note, and he's like, I'm only going to give you 1 week this time. And I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever, 1 week. And
Yeah, you're the doctor. You probably know best.
yeah, you know best, right?
Yeah.
And then I got approved to go see my therapist, David Morshon, and so I was like, which was awesome. And then but I still needed to go back and get a note.
Yeah.
Right. So it was all approved and whatever. And then but I had to go back to the doctor to get another note, and I did. And he's like, nope, no more notes. He's like, you're ready to go back.
Oh.
And I was like, what? I was like, I can't sleep. Like I'm up all night. Like, excuse me. I was like, this thing is playing over in my head like a constant video, just on loop, like listening to the same song but watching the same video over and over and over again. He's like, there's people in the world that have seen a lot worse than you. There's people that come back from war. And I was like, yeah, but listen here, man. I went to fucking work in Canada, in British Columbia. I went to work. I didn't expect to see what I saw.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, I'm not living in South fucking Africa, and I'm not living in fucking, anywhere else in the world. I'm here.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, what the fuck? He's like, no notes, you're ready to go back to work. And then I had my meeting with my doctor that day, and he was like, give me his name. He's like, you want to know something about a doc in the box? He's just an educated guesser. He's like, I actually went to school on how the brain works.
Yeah.
He's like, that guy there is basically garbage. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right? Oh no, you're ready. Good. Like, just
that's
fuck.
crazy.
He was
That's
bad. That was the
crazy.
only like
Negative.
the only negative about it. Workers' compensation was good. Like, they were good. Like, they
acknowledged it. They realized that you obviously had some issues.
Yeah. And I still do. Like, I had like not working with you, but the last company I worked at, it had like a minor setback too. It never leaves you, right?
Yeah.
And like we were moving from Chilliwack to Abbotsford, from Abbotsford to Chilliwack, and they had a radial arm drill there, but it was never in my sight. I knew it was there, but it was in another building. And then somebody in their infinite wisdom dropped it right in front of me, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I just froze up, and I was like, everyone's like, yeah, we need this done. I was like, you have to wait. I was just shaking.
So they put the same type of machine in front of you, and then
yeah,
bring
exactly the same one.
flashbacks.
Yeah, but not obviously not the same one, but yeah, and it brought everything back. Point I couldn't even focus on my job, nothing. So I walked into the HR, and I was like, hey, that accident I always told you guys I was in, like, witnessed a long time ago? They're like, yeah. I was like, well, you got to get that fucking machine out of there, man.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, I'll call down Sean, the safety supervisor or whatever he was. And he comes down, and he's like, holy fuck, those morons. He's like, I told them, don't put that machine near you.
Oh.
And, maybe they thought, put it near me. And they dropped it like right in front of me. It's like, I was like, fuck. So I had to take 2 days off and go talk to my therapist again. So it never leaves you. And PTSD is really bad. Like, it's severe.
Absolutely.
It is severe. And, like, talking about it helps,
Yeah.
And
Well, definitely.
it does.
What makes it's what makes a lot of it go away.
Yeah.
Dealing with when Leland got crunched under the gate, same sort of thing, right? Like, we thought he was dead or whatever, and Trish had to give him a couple of breaths into his mouth to get him going, and I was like, I froze, and everything was in slow motion, but I couldn't do anything. She handed me the phone to call 911. I was like, I don't even know what to do.
Wow.
And I'll give it back. And then I kind of just figured, well, it's fine. Everything will be good. Accidents happen. Continue going on with what I'm doing.
So what happened exactly though? Like, you want to?
Well, he was crushed by the security gate in the underground, right? So where he was, there was a dip in the pavement.
Yeah.
So it went down a little bit. It went across the back, his shoulder and his neck.
Oh,
and he was
fuck.
pinned under it, so he couldn't get out. And then if he was over
Couple inches, he's dead.
6 inches, a foot, it would have snapped his neck. So, and that was, it was totally like I thought it'll be fine. I'll just go back. Everything, and accidents happen. That's the way. It's an accident.
Yeah.
And I went back to work. So, and then it was probably 9 months I went back to work where I was sleeping an hour and a half a night, or for the entire night, the entire day. And everything just kind of, I'd be at work and everything kind of separated from me, where I was still there, but I couldn't, it looked like I couldn't reach what I was doing. Everything just went spaced out in front of me, and I was the only thing there, and everything was so far away. And then I just kept, it'll be fine. I'll get over it. I never said,
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Well, I
though.
just kind of kept trying to go on about what I was doing, and hey, I'm a guy. I'll just let it go. I'll deal with it. It'll be fine.
Yep.
And it never got better. And so I would be at work, graveyards. I'm by myself. There's another guy there, and I felt like there was times where I just had to run down to the other end because everything was so far away from me, and I was just a panic.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. I went grocery shopping.
That's scary.
I went grocery shopping, loaded up the cart, got into the last little bit, whatever, and everything again went where I was the only thing there. And I called Trish, and I was like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I something's wrong. I got to come home, or somebody's got to come and get me. And then I finally went and talked to somebody, and they were like, okay, well, we got to get, I decided to take the time off of work. And then they were kind of, after a while, they were like, well, you got to come back to work.
Oh,
We
fuck
sent me a
that.
letter saying, this is a letter, this is your warning, you better come back to
Warning.
work.
Fuck you.
I was like, I hadn't said anything yet, really. Like, I didn't say, like, this is what happened.
Oh, okay.
This is what's going on. Actually, no, I did, and I left work because everything went all fucked. And I was like, I can't be here. I can't focus. The kids are at home, wife's at home, and I'm here at work. And I feel like I'm letting everybody down by being here and away from everybody. And then, so I took the time off, and it was, I can't remember how long it was, but I just took the time off. I didn't, there was no applying for no benefits or nothing. I just took the time off. And then I was like, I can't come back to work. Something's wrong. Like, something's really, really wrong. This isn't normal. I can't get over it. I can't, like, I felt like I had to cry,
But you couldn't.
but nothing would come out. And
Oh.
everything just felt so just empty.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing, I couldn't bring it back. I couldn't pull anything back to feel anything. It was just like, I don't know what's going on. So then after a while, they had sent me a letter saying I have to come back to work. This is my warning. You're going to lose your job if you do not come back to work.
Wow.
So I talked to my union guy. Then I went and saw a psychologist. And the psychologist, he was just a guy that would just sit in an office and tell you there was no firsthand experience there. So there was no like real connection to what had happened. And then I got sent to another thing where I sat in a group of people.
That's probably better.
And I didn't say, I just sat there. I didn't say anything. There was a dude beside me I don't know, he might have been 7 feet tall. And sitting in between him and another guy who was biting his hand, and this huge guy who ground a pencil down to dust. And I was like, I don't belong here. Like, this is not what I shouldn't be here. Like, I'm, and then finally I like, everybody wasn't saying anything in these groups. And I was like, okay, this is what happened. I was like, they don't know, some people don't know where they find their, what's going on with them.
Yeah.
They don't know the exact point. Right. And I was like, this is what happened. I watched. I was down in the garage, and my kid went out with his cousin to go out to the park. And then I went back the other way, and he decided, like, oh, Dad's gone, I'll go back in, or whatever. And he got smashed by the gate, and it pinned him to the ground.
Oh, fuck.
And I felt that it's my fault. He's down there because I'm down there, not because he's gone to the park out our front door.
It's almost like that survivor's guilt or whatever.
So then I had said what happened. I said, I know exactly where my trauma comes from and why. And then everybody else in the group started opening up, and then I started talking more, and it made me feel much better. Because for the last 9 months, I had gone with the what ifs. Like, he could have been, when he went out, the only reason why we figured out, or why we found him like that, was because Trish came down into the garage right then, and my niece came running back right then. If I had left
10 seconds before
10
he's
seconds sooner, that door is closed, and I'm in the house, and now she's coming to find me.
Oh, geez.
And she's going to have to run, and then we're going to have to run back down, unlock the door, go and try to find him. And that was the between life and death with him was that time. So what if she was on the outside and she didn't come running back screaming? We wouldn't have known he was under the gate.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I had a whole bunch of what ifs, and that's so
what
that
happens.
Again, that's playing this whole thing scenarios, or this whole thing is playing in my head. All these, like, where I'm not sleeping, where I'm at work, and I can't focus, and everything's going. It's over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Like, what if he was over a foot? What if he just decided to go? I mean, what if my niece didn't come through the gate, didn't get in through the gate? What if she had to run around? And it really got me. And then what made me get better was when they're like, well, the what ifs didn't actually happen because they're just what ifs.
Yeah.
They didn't happen. What happened is everything is fine now.
Did therapy tell you that?
Yeah, they don't exist. What ifs didn't happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
would have been burying them.
like I told you when talking about, I mean, this being about accidents, when I saw that motorcycle guy get smoked off in front of me, and he was laying on the ground, he was making the same kind of noise that Leland made when
so
Trish
like
gave him the
flashback.
breath.
Mhm.
So I had a little bit where I was like, it's a PTSD. It keeps trying to sneak its way back in.
Oh,
It
yeah.
tries to get back in to make you think about it.
I can tell just by the way that you're clamming up a bit and the way you're breathing. Like, I can tell that you're probably dealing with it to this day.
Well, it's everything's fine, and he's totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, he had a thing where he drew a picture when he went. This is when he was in kindergarten. So when he first went into kindergarten, he drew a picture of this scary looking cloud, and he said that it was what was coming to get him when he was under the gate.
Oh yeah.
Was this scary thing, and then
Oh,
but it's
jeez.
fine. And the only other thing he said after that was he knew why we moved,
Yeah.
So let's just.
and that other thing.
Can I just clarify something? This was not at your house. This was at the apartment you lived in, right?
Yeah, this isn't where we live now. It was the place before we live now, and that's
Okay.
why we had to move,
Yeah.
because Trish cried every time she went through the gate.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure.
I was like, okay, I didn't deal. And the one thing that I got from the psychologist was people deal with things differently.
Yeah.
Where your wife reacted and jumped on what was happening, and you froze.
It's fight or flight.
Well, yeah, fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
And a
So-
lot of people do freeze.
Oh, they freeze, and I froze.
Like
I froze. Like going to run down there for him, like
Yeah.
I could run pretty quick. And I was running in quicksand, and she got
Oh,
there before
shit.
me, and I was just like, I don't know what to do.
Oh,
I
God.
don't know what to do. He's dead, and I don't know what to do. So
And that's hard to admit that, like, you froze. Like, for a lot of people,
froze.
a lot of people, they won't admit that. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
true.
that's.
I if I was there by myself, I don't know what I would have done.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know. I definitely wouldn't have been able to make any phone calls.
Yeah, but you never know. You
Well,
never know about
yeah,
that.
I
That's-
guess.
it goes
Again,
with one of
that's
those
another
Because you
what
weren't
ifs.
by yourself,
What ifs,
so you
but
don't know.
Yeah.
It's and again, like now it's nothing. That didn't. It's like it was just he might as well just fallen down and bumped his head.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't know if you've seen the
Those
pictures of
injuries,
him when
yes.
like his eye, like the whites of his eyes were blood, like they
Sure.
were red, like every blood vessel broke because of the pressure that was on him.
on his neck.
So
2 inches over, he's got a broken neck, probably dead.
well, no, probably 6 inches because where he was, it went down a little bit, so there was a little bit of
So
space. But
lucky.
over here was right to the ground. There was no clearance except just smashed to the ground, right? So, but
Yeah.
So Jay, if you want to just go back into how difficult it was to deal with like maybe your union
Okay.
or WCB and stuff like that, and just speak into the mic, big dog.
okay. Well, also with my work sending me the letter saying that I had to come back to work or I was going to be fired. I was going on our work insurance plan that
Yeah.
by a certain company. It's not the same as WorkSafe, but they made you. So I went to the therapist, the physio, or not the
Psychologist.
psychologist,
Yeah.
and then they approved me. It says they just sent me a thing saying that my claim has been approved, but it's only approved for 1 week.
Whoa.
So I went to the psychologist, and then I think I went to him a couple of times, probably 4 or 5 times over. It was over three weeks, and so I would get paid, and then I wouldn't get anything. So I'd be like, okay, I don't know, maybe it'll be tomorrow, whatever.
Maybe they made a mistake.
Yeah, but I mean, I wasn't really thinking too much about it, right? Like I was more worried about what was going on and trying to
for
deal with
sure.
what was happening. And then Trish would be like, "Well, you're not getting any money." So I was like, "All right, well, I guess I gotta contact him and like, oh, we approved you for the 1 week, so we're gonna have to get your doctor and everybody to send more letters to see if you're approved for longer." And they would approve me for 1 week at a time until my doctor, not the therapist or the psychologist,
So
but my
your
actual
family
doctor who
doctor.
I actually went to when I first went, and he gave me this thing that said, what's going on,
Yeah.
like why are you feeling this way, like, and then he gives you that test, and they go through like where they tell you, okay, they don't give like antidepressants to I think it's girls under a certain age because it makes them want to commit suicide because they end up being okay with it.
Yeah.
Where it's like they don't, where they feel those feelings, and now that they're taking these antidepressants,
They
they're
feel
like,
calm
it's
and
okay.
they feel good, and they're like,
it's okay that I do this because now everything will be better,
yeah.
and
I'll
I can
jump
just
off
go.
that
I'll
bridge.
just go. So they don't give. You have to pass this test thing that they give you,
Yeah.
and then so I kept having to go back to him, and then he was like, well, no, I'm going to contact them, and this is gonna stop because, and then he
Nice.
went into his other office and then called them and said, this no more. We're not
Yeah.
gonna have him dealing with this PTSD and have to keep worrying about where he's going to be able to pay his rent or
Yeah.
food or whatever.
And that's a pretty common fucking thing for insurance companies to do.
Well, it's they want you to just say, no, I'll just forget it. I'll drop my claim or I'll just go back to work.
Exactly.
And I mean, it wasn't happening, and I wasn't ready to go back.
Yeah.
And they just kept making me go through the each
Jumping the
hoop after
hoops.
hoop after hoop and making it more difficult. And then
How long ago was
Again,
this?
this probably went on for 9 weeks.
No, what year was this?
2012.
I think things have changed since then. Where
Oh,
they don't
a
make
A
you
little
jump
bit,
through
but,
as many
but when
hoops.
you're dealing with private insurance companies that
Oh,
are
yeah,
taking
that's
over,
different, yeah.
they're gonna make it so fucking difficult that you're just like, fuck this. Like, this is a hassle. I'll just, I'll man up and try to deal with it. But that's
Well,
not
it's kind of the
that's-
same thing with WorkSafe, where if
Yeah.
you get hurt on you get hurt on the job site, and they call it, like I had one where I hurt my shoulder, and they called, and you had to give the story, and then 2 days later, another person would call and get you to do the same thing. 2 days later, another person would call. So it would alternate between a guy calling and a girl calling, a guy calling and a girl calling. And after doing that for so long, it's like, okay, well, what do you want to hear from me?
Yeah.
I'm telling you exactly what's happened here.
They're trying to
can't,
deny
I
your
can't
claim.
tell any. I can't tell you anything. Do you want me to tell you that I'm fine? Like, do you want me to tell you that it's okay? Like, I'm, if you're hurt, you're hurt, and whatever. But this is a little bit different because it's all up in it's in your head, right? Like,
Yeah.
your brain will play tricks on you to make you think that, like, it's like when you see something that's not there, right? It'll play a trick on you,
Yeah.
and now you think that something's there. You think that there's somebody looking at you, or you think somebody's watching when
That's
there's nobody
fucking
there.
Crazy.
There's nobody there, and again, they made it more difficult, and it was getting frustrating to have to deal with what was going on, to trying to get better, trying to forget stuff, but then now the added,
Stress of
guess
getting
what? You're
paid
not
bills.
getting paid, and maybe you won't get paid next week, or maybe you'll get paid, maybe you
Yeah.
won't, maybe you won't have,
Wow.
whatever.
So
And then
what-
again, my doctor just said, okay, well, this is enough. We're gonna,
Yeah.
this is what's happening. He's dealing with PTSD. This is approved until I say it's not approved.
Nice.
I'll send you guys. I'll send you guys a letter, or I'll call you when he is okay.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
after that,
Everything
was
good.
fine.
Nice.
But it still was it was a year. I think I was off work for 11 months.
Wow.
From the time that I left,
Yeah.
I was off for 11 months. And it was 9 months before that
Where you're struggling with
where
it
I was struggling,
working,
where
yeah.
trying to go to work and going to work with an hour and a half, 2 hours tops a night sleeping. And that's not like, okay, I slept for 2 hours, wake up for a bit, sleep for another hour. It was 2 hours total in the 24-hour period.
Fuck.
And it was just, I mean, you probably know how it is. Like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just, it doesn't stop, and there's no real end to it until you get to where I started talking about it with more people. That's
It
when it
helped.
started getting better. It wasn't going to go get better on its own. I wasn't going to stuff it away and be like, I'll just motor on through and get everything will be fine. I'm a guy, I'll get everything fine, and no big deal. I'll go about my business like it's nothing.
Yeah, I
It
couldn't
kept
imagine.
getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And then again, like finally, when I broke down, I was like, something's wrong. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I hate everything that's going on, and my everything like after seeing him down at the end of the carport, the garage,
Yeah.
just laying there motionless. That just kept going in my head, and seeing that, and I felt so worthless. Like, I felt so like I didn't do it. I wouldn't have been able to save him if I was there by myself. And
That's a
so
scary
that
thought.
kept going in my head, right? Like, it just kept playing, and it wouldn't be there 24 hours a day. Like, there'd be times where it was okay, and then all of a sudden it would be in there, and that's all I would think about. And then it would go away for a little bit during the day, and then it would creep back in there. And that's when I was working. Like, I was working graveyards a lot then too. And
So did you ever have anything like in your life afterwards that like maybe even came to like trigger some of those things?
well, just that when I saw the guy get hit off the motorcycle in front of me.
Oh fuck.
He on Annis's Island there, where you come out of Tim Hortons. There was you pull out, and there's a stop sign to go down. I don't know if it's Cliveden or whatever it is, and there was a minivan turning, and I'm looking at the minivan because he's right in front of me. I'm at the stop sign, and he just turns like you would normally turn, as I'm kind of at the stop sign. Turns, and a motorcycle just came and smashed into the side of the passenger side window, like the passenger side door.
Just blew
Popped
it
up, and they have those the bars for the ladders on the roof.
Roof rack.
That took the guy's helmet off. He flew up in the air. As the minivan turned, he's over top, and he came down after the minivan had turned.
Oh.
And so I was stopped there. Another guy came. We ran out there to see what was going on. And this guy was like, I thought what looked like brains and stuff coming out of the guy's mouth and nose, and he was just making a horrible noise. And it was like, okay, you try to make him. You try to talk. He's got no helmet on as he was riding a motorcycle. Now he's got no helmet. He's smashed on the ground. and at first he's not moving, but he's kind of making a weird noise, and then he starts moving around and gurgling, and this stuff starts pouring out of his nose and his mouth, and it's like you've got to keep him. You can't let him move around, right?
No.
Like, so I'm hanging onto his legs. The other guy's hanging onto, like, he's up on top, making sure he's not trying to get up. And the guy was getting up. He was trying to get up, and we had to like physically put force down on this guy to get him to stay down. And I thought he was going to be dead, just the way. And then he just kind of went, ugh.
Yeah.
And
so
he
it's
stopped.
Like your adrenaline probably.
Like
is
he
just those
stopped,
last-
and then finally, we're just trying to get him to calm down, don't move. You've been in an accident. Everything's gonna be okay. The ambulance is on its way. Fire truck comes, and then you kind of back away,
Yeah,
right?
Let them do what they do.
He fought for a while, and then he just kind of just went to nothing. Like he went like limp, but he survived. But
Well,
so that hearing him make that noise, that gurgling noise, in the way that's the same noise that my kid had made when we got down to him.
so you're right back to.
And then
square
so I started thinking about that, and that kind of it started creeping back in, and that it hadn't been there for a couple of years.
one.
And then so it started creeping back in. Then I go through the same process of, well, what if? Like that was the big thing with me, like the what ifs. Like what if this, or what if that? And those
Yeah.
didn't actually happen. And then I went back through that process of trying to get rid of it, and then I pushed it out, and it eventually creeps in every once in a while. Like you'll see something, or I'll be alone at work, and then it kind of gets in there, and I gotta calm myself down because I'm thinking about it, and then it goes away. But
Like, does it feel like you're having a heart attack, or like do you just like you clam up, or like what are some of the,
it's the breathing gets a little, like
Breathing.
you get like the heavy, like it's like an
anxiety attack?
an anxiety attack where you're like,
Oh,
okay,
wow.
I gotta, I guess like I said, I'd be at work, and then I feel like I have to get down to the other end and do something, because
Just-
something's coming over me, and I got to get away from it
Yeah.
and run down to the other end. And I mean, you're just trying to, I don't know if you're trying to run away from it, but
It's probably your brain probably
then
telling
it's
you to fucking get out of there.
I've learned over time, and as Rob,
Rob.
to not let those things get back in there and take over your life as to what it was. Like it's not good. You can't function off 2 hours sleep a night
No.
and be for months at a time, right?
Yeah, like fuck. One of my triggers was watching the end of Casino when they beat the shit out of Joe Pesci in that cornfield. Like the way they were hitting him with the bat, and you could see his broken body and the bruises and stuff.
Yeah.
That's when a lot of my shit just. And I was
right
like,
back.
yeah, I don't ever watch the end of that show. I'll watch it right up to that part, and then I'll just be like, nope.
Well, one thing that like Leland he's pretty good. It doesn't bug him. It's not any part of what he is, or
Yeah.
anything that he does. But since that happened, now every time, and it's good, but since that happened, now anytime I go, me or Trish, or my family comes over, when they leave, or if we leave the house and he's not going to see them, he gives you a hug and tells you he loves you.
Yeah.
Every time, no matter if I'm going
To
to the store, if I'm going to pick up a pizza and come back, he has to give me a hug and tell me he loves me. And that's for my wife. When anybody comes over to see us, that's what he does. He gives he'll give.
If you suspect yourself or someone you care about may have post-traumatic stress disorder, please don't hesitate to seek help. In British Columbia, talk to your family doctor or contact the provincial health line at 811, and they can connect you with a local mental health provider.